This week's episode of the Run, Eat, Drink podcast is brought to you by listeners like you. Head on over to patreon.com/Run, Eat, Drink podcast and subscribe today. Fans, founders, and insiders like you help us keep the Run, Eat, Drink podcast going, and we thank you for your support.
Hi, I'm Jeff Galloway, and you are listening to the Run, Eat, Drink podcast.
Welcome to the Run, Eat, Drink podcast. We feature destination races from across the country. And after the race, we take you on a tour of the best local food and beverage to celebrate. So whether you are an elite runner or a back of the packer like us, you'll know the best places to accomplish, explore, and indulge on your next runcation. Hey, welcome to episode 165 of the Run, Eat, Drink podcast. I'm your host, Amy.
And I am your co-host, Dana.
We're so happy you're here. Welcome to this week's show. Welcome to American Craft Beer Week.
Yes, and we are coming off of a holiday weekend, heading into a holiday week. Happy belated Mother's Day to all the moms out there.
Yes. So a lot happening this week.
Yes.
And over this past weekend. And I have to say, this past week, I was so grateful to continue to receive messages and videos for Jeff Galloway.
Yeah, it was great seeing more people messaging us and saying, hey, is there still time? Mm-hmm. And we're like, of course there's still time. There's never going to be an expiration, I don't think, until we take the site down, and we're not taking it down anytime soon until he's back up and feeling 100%.
I'll tell you what I'm doing. Anytime anybody sends anything, I add it to the site, whether it's a picture and a little blurb of well wishes that's written, or a video or an audio message for him. I add it to runeatdrink.net/Jeff. And then as soon as I have it up there and it's visible, I send an email to Jeff so that he is constantly flooded with positive messages that he can look at his leisure or when he needs an extra boost.
I know we mentioned it last week, but Amy has had an opportunity to correspond with Jeff a little bit, and he is very thankful for the outpouring of well wishes, and he said it's helping him in his recovery. So to
quote his email, he says,
here we go.
Amy, every post you send me lifts my spirits. I am making progress. These posts reduce stress. Thanks, Jeff.
Well, there you go.
So
you got to reduce the man's stress. So if you haven't sent a message in to wish Jeff a speedy recovery, please do so. Email your well wishes, whether it's a photo or a text blurb or
both,
an audio recording or even a video recording.
We've had those.
We have. You can either message them to us on our social media channels, or if you want to send an email, info@runeatdrink.net.
Yes.
But it's apropos that we are having Jeff introduce this week's episode, because as we get started on the episode, we're going to be talking about another race that benefits the Dana Foundation.
Indeed.
And if you are not familiar, the Dana Foundation Dana Marathon Weekend is a race in Jacksonville, Florida that Jeff Galloway helped get off the ground,
along with Edith Perez and its namesake, Donna Deegan.
Yes. And we were tagged by some friends of ours from the Bouncy Hunters
on Facebook.
Over on Facebook. This is a group of medical professionals and their friends who get together and they do charity runs, or they run these races for charity to raise funds for the Dana Foundation.
Yes.
And they are just amazing. They've adopted us, and they let us hang out with them, even though we can't really hang with them on the race because they're very fast.
Yeah, they are.
We've talked about our friends Mike and Andy Sharp.
Andy just winning her division every time.
What a show off.
So talented and so inspiring and such a positive influence on others.
We absolutely love them, and she keeps us motivated when we go up there.
Yeah.
But so this race was something I didn't know anything about until we were tagged in it.
Well, I think
missed
it's
it.
one of the lesser known races that the Donna Foundation does. It's unless you're local to the Jacksonville area or in that group, the Bouncy Hunters.
So we're going to be talking about the Mother's Day Your Way race for benefiting the Donna Foundation.
Yes.
And then we're going to be revisiting.
Oh, Tiki. Sorry.
We need some bongo music here.
I know.
We're revisiting a restaurant that we featured a couple of episodes ago. We talked about it on that episode when we said we have some additional food and beverage from Jungle Bird Tiki, which happens to be here in our hometown here in Cape Coral, Florida.
Just so good.
So this is one of those places we're going to be featuring this amazing restaurant that's going to give you, who might be looking to come travel to Florida sometime this summer. Maybe you're wanting to come down to the area just to vacation in the Sanibel Captiva area and you're looking for a great dinner out or a great mid-afternoon lunch like we did. The food and beverage here that we're going to be talking about tonight will instantly transport you to some remote South Pacific island. So,
like, we need background music, and I don't know, as we talk about it, it's just incredible.
so we're very much looking forward to that, and we hope you will stay tuned for that amazing spot.
Food and beverage.
So let's talk running.
Yeah. This past weekend, it was Mother's Day, and we celebrated all the mothers that we love and who are inspiring to us in our own lives and in the Runcation Nation by doing the Mother's Day Your Way.
Now, what do you mean, your way?
Well, the last time we did Donna events, they were specific distances or challenges that were combinations of distances, a la 5K, 10K, half. Well, there was no 10K, but full marathon, ultra, or a combination of these.
Right.
And we had so many from the Runcation Nation come on board and do them with us. We had a kickoff party. We had a wrap-up celebration. I think we had over 40.
We had confetti.
We had confetti we're still trying to find here in the studio. Still, we find it when we're cleaning. Yeah, it hides. It's like static electricity, and just, you think you've gotten it all? You're wrong. You're so wrong. So, I'm sorry. But anyway, this one, Mother's Day Your Way, it's just 30 minutes of activity on Mother's Day weekend. So you could do it on Saturday, you could do it on Sunday, and you could bike ride, you could walk, you could run, you could do a combination of those things. You could, any activity of 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And then you could submit your results if you wanted to, and you can tag on social media if you wanted to. But you don't have to. It's not a requirement. But if you register, then you support the Donna Foundation and you get a finisher's medal, a gender-specific cotton blend performance shirt, a goodie bag courtesy of Natural Life that will include their famous runner ribbon.
And if you've ever watched any of our live broadcasts from the studio, we have one of the runner ribbon magnets on our boom microphone arms.
And they do also have the Active Experience app that you could use to time your activity if you wanted to, the same way we did with the Donna Marathon weekend events. We had access to a Donna digital tribute wall just specifically for Mother's Day Your Way. So I uploaded a photo of me, my mother, and my sister, and with a little tagline about how much I love them and they are inspiring to me. And opening and closing ceremony videos were presented by Black Knight, just like they were back in February. And a virtual event bag with exclusive offers from sponsors and partners. $30.
Yeah, and the adult entry was $35, and if you have joined their charitable society, their 1912 Giving Society, it was a $10 discount on that. So a very approachable cost of entry, I think, especially for what you get. And we haven't talked about the medal.
Yeah, we haven't talked about the finisher's medal.
And we mentioned it.
I stated that you receive a finisher's medal, and we don't have ours yet because we were tagged right before the weekend.
Yeah.
So ours are still in transit. But it's a wine stopper.
Yeah.
And I don't think we've had bottle openers that serve as medals.
I was going to say, we have had the occasional functional medal, but this, and we have certainly had complex medals that have moving parts and spinners and that type of thing.
Glow in the dark medals.
All sorts of stuff. But functional medals, pretty rare. And this one is a really cute, like you said, the wine stopper.
Yeah.
And it's got the conical shape to it with the little rubber rings.
Uh-huh.
But the top of the medal is like a stopwatch.
Yes. For like the 30 minutes.
Yeah. And it's got the Mother's Day Your Way logo. It's gorgeous. And the
30-minute timer is like in pink.
Yeah.
So
I think this is going to be a really cool addition to the medal hangers.
Oh, well, and it can serve a purpose as well.
It can.
We said our goal was to get into and find out more about wine this year.
This is true.
And we're going to have to get on that goal, and maybe this will help us and aid us in our taste testing at home.
Well, it will certainly aid us in our ability to seal up the bottle once we've opened it.
Yes, exactly.
So I'm very excited about this. I think the medal is adorable. Mm-hmm. And again, for what you're getting and the fact that you're benefiting a charity, I think it's fantastic.
Yes, indeed.
So what did we do? We combined a couple of things.
We did. I thought it's 30 minutes. You are spurring us on and inspiring us and everybody that came to us as foodies and
travel
wanted
enthusiasts
to dabble in the running but didn't really know what it was all about or how to get started. So you've been doing the Couch to 5K. You've been doing the Easy 5K application that is powered by Lolo Fit and Jeff Galloway.
Yes. Yes. In fact, you've been sharing what each day's workout looks like in our social media feed to give everybody an idea. We've had some people joining a little bit late and some asking, is it too late to join? The answer is no.
It's never too late.
It's never too late. And we are I'm doing a very conservative approach to this. In fact, too conservative for a couple of our listeners, but they like to jump in and say hi and cheer me on anyway.
Yeah.
And it's the idea behind this is to get people who, like you said, came to us not from the running side, to get out and try it. And I think that you're going to be shocked and surprised pleasantly at how much progress and how much of a difference just a very short running interval makes.
Yeah.
And we're doing this. Currently, we're only at a 5-second run interval and a 25-second walk interval for the run portions.
That's what you do. A lot of the people who follow us or are following the program will take a different ratio.
And that's totally fine. If this is motivating you to get out and do anything, even if you don't want to run at all, just want to get off the couch,
get out there,
do it. There's no harm in that. And specifically, I was going to say, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No. I thought that your approach is very, very smart because you have been streaming via YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, so people can go to our YouTube channel, find that run if they wanted you in their ear as to on replay, do it at the time that it's good for them.
Yes, and we have had some people doing that, and I'm glad to be able to do that for you guys.
And they've been tagging us too, and we've been sharing.
So thank you for coming along with that. Yeah. So we decided to kill two birds with one stone, and this weekend for the long run portion of that program was, I believe, a 1.5 mile total run.
Yeah, so it was a little over 30.
It was over 30 minutes, but when you factor in the 3-minute warm up and 3-minute cool down, it's well over 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And you ended up
nice and easy.
Yeah, just very relaxed and no pressure.
No.
And we had a very mild Saturday. We had a mild cold front
lucky.
come through, and we were actually go ahead, ring it. Yeah. We were very happy to be able to get out and enjoy it. It was in the 60s when we went out.
It was great.
And we decided that was going to be how we would get our activity in for the purposes of our Mother's Day Your Way run. Yeah. And it was great. And we availed ourselves of what Jeff likes to tell us, which is for the long run day, you don't have to do any intervals at all if you don't want to.
You could walk the whole thing.
And it was purely because it was so pretty out. I had no desire to speed that along.
And we saw so many buddies.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, because of the cooler weather, the rabbits in the area were just out running and all
cute.
over the place.
Little ones, big ones.
Yeah. So it was, it felt very spring-like in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So I had a blast. Amy came out with me. It was just super relaxing. What a great way to start the day. And so I think the total time on the road for us was about 38 minutes. And that's counting us talking a little bit before and after and all that. But it was a great time and a great way to get that in. This is a recurring event for the Donna Foundation.
Indeed, yes. Just like the Donna Marathon weekend events.
So what we would like to encourage everybody to do is, if you're not already following the Donna Marathon to End Breast Cancer, I believe their screen name is 262 with Donna on Facebook, Instagram. Follow them.
If you search for that, you find them.
Absolutely. Add this one to your repertoire if you're looking for cool virtuals to do for next year. I think that this is a great one. Maybe you and your mom can go out and run it, or
you and a
special
daughter,
mom, or you and your daughter,
a son and a mom and a son, and
absolutely,
yeah.
This is a really cool, and I think it's a great event and a great cause to support. Yeah. And when we get that bling in, and
we'll show it off.
Stuff, the stuff from the actual goodie bag, everything we get, we'll do either
we'll post pictures, do a live, something, all of the above.
We'll show it off.
Just, we don't have it, so it's not in the episode artwork this week.
Exactly. And also, I'd encourage you, if you want to follow just a really cool group of people, check out the Bouncy Hunters on Facebook. I think it's Facebook only, or do they do Instagram too?
It's Facebook as far as I know.
Okay. Check them out. Again, just an amazing group of people that are spreading positivity, raising money for the Donna Foundation.
Incredible.
We love them, and we cannot wait to
run with them again?
Reconnect with them next year.
Yeah, I was thinking about them so hard this weekend, so much, because the Gasparilla virtual events are going on, and some people in Tampa that are local to that area, like the Run Tampa group up there, they were posting pictures of their virtual Gasparilla experience there on Bayshore.
Okay.
And I was thinking about one of the first times that we ran Gasparilla, and we were heading out on the course, and Andy Sharp was coming back on the tail end of her half, and she jumped the median to go get a picture with me.
Yeah.
And it was just great.
Yeah, she's a machine. And also, there's that whole time that you got to go interview Mip Kefleski there. And
lots of good memories there at Gasparilla. But
I don't want to do that one virtually. I want to do that one in person.
I do too.
So, just so everybody knows, we are still looking really hard at filling up our race calendar.
I talked about this on the coffee chat this morning.
Oh, did you?
Because I keep talking about it, and Maria Miller was in the chat, and she's like, yeah, okay, I know what you mean, because what I said was, I don't want to lay down the gauntlet. I don't want to update our website with all the races that we're thinking about and wanting to do, because the last time we did that,
yep.
I can't
2020 happened.
I can't do it, but it all got swept away.
It did.
So...
But we're going to have to commit. I know we have been talking a lot with a lot of the Runcation Nation when they jump in on live events. We are seriously looking at, the minute they announce the Donna in real life, we're registering for that. So that's for sure.
I really hope.
We are looking hard at, I think, upcoming one of the vacation races. We're looking at to maybe do some meetups. And as soon as we settle on some races that confirm that they're going to be live
In person.
and that's something that we can get to.
Yeah.
We're going to update everything. We're going to have to pull the trigger. We're going to have to commit.
I know.
Because at this point, people can't blame us for 2021.
I know.
It's already underway.
It's happening, and a lot of the races are looking really positive that they're going to host and be live in fall. In the fall.
In the fall.
We want to be in person, and we want to meet up, and we want to get back to that, and
absolutely,
for sure.
But of course, all this running does make me work up an appetite, and even talking about running makes me work up an appetite. You know how I am.
And we had such an amazing meal. So many great plates that we had to talk about it on 2 separate episodes, this one meal.
It's pretty rare that we do this, actually. I when we went there, I thought, okay, it's probably going to be good.
And we could have ordered an entree.
We could have.
But I think that the strategy is to order from the starter small plate section of the menu so that you can have more of a flavor of tiki.
Yeah, and you and I have talked about this before. We are fans of tapas-style dining, and this gives you just a little more variety.
Yeah.
And for me, I just love seeing what different angles a chef has on a multitude of items, and tapas-style dining or getting the small plate stuff. To me, that's just the way to go.
So good.
Yeah.
So Jungle Bird Tiki, of course, we talked about a couple of weeks ago, and we're back at it because we had even more surf and turf.
We did.
That was just incredible.
It really was. And I don't think that you could get 2 items that are more different than the 2 we're going to talk about, because one leans very heavily into Tex-Mex influences.
Yeah.
And the other goes a little more Asian.
Yeah. I think it's a nice cross of tiki and...
Which tiki is an amalgamation of stuff anyway. It's not like a one
specific style of food.
It's not.
Yeah. Not genre.
Well, no. Yeah, you can mix a little. It's a made-up thing anyway, because they're not really basing it on a specific like Polynesian culture, but it borrows a little bit of the
island culture,
mid-1900s thoughts of what it would be like, and they just go from there and they riff on things. And do you want me to start, or do you want to start?
So let's start with the seared steak tacos.
Okay.
Because we're in it together. We shared both of these dishes.
We did.
So seared steak tacos. And you got 2 humongous tacos for this $13. And it was filet.
Yeah, not ground beef.
Filet. And then seaweed. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Wakame.
Wakame?
Yeah.
Okay, here you go. So for the win for him, ginger, cilantro, avocado, lime aioli, hot mustard, sriracha, and a flour tortilla holds it all together.
Yeah, now this one blends the whole Tex-Mex style and the Asian together. And what can you really, how could I describe this? The filet had a great char on the exterior and was very tender. The wakame, or the seaweed, was such an interesting add to this that I didn't really, I expected it because we saw it on the menu, but I didn't expect, basically it acted as a salty component.
The seaweed, yes. Yeah.
Very interesting.
And it was not traditional salt. It was that taste of the sea kind of salt, that briny seaweed flavor.
Yep.
And I really liked that. I also liked how it was like mashed avocado.
Yes, not to be confused with a guacamole.
It was not turned into guacamole. It was just slightly mashed, just the right ripeness avocado to make it a creamy texture against that seaweed.
Which I know I am a huge guacamole fan or avocado fan.
Love that.
So
yes. Clearly you know that if you've seen any recent live.
And I think that's such a great textural thing. It's a creaminess, almost like a mayonnaise would be on a hamburger or just or a dressing.
Yeah, but
almost.
This was still chunky. So I love the consistency as compared to the seaweed and the fillet itself, but also then the lime aioli, and then the dollops of sriracha and the hot mustard.
Yeah, this is like the traditional hot yellow mustard you get like with Chinese takeout or at your favorite Chinese restaurant. And not a lot of it, just a little bit, like literally, like you said, little dollops, just little dots in the presentation. So the first bite, you might get a little bit of the sriracha, which I think is one of the more approachable hot sauces. We should have had that in our list of hot sauces the other day.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have maybe killed ourselves with that.
Possibly not.
But it's a very approachable but very flavorful hot sauce.
I think this whole dish had layers of tangy, tart, salty, different kinds of spicy, not one note spice.
Right.
Tangy, tartness, creaminess, and then the texture of this perfectly cooked meat, this filet. That's just, it was not tough. It was like fall apart tender.
Yeah, you don't normally see filet
Chunks.
used in tacos. That's very uncommon. It's a more premium cut of meat. So typically
Skirt steak would be in a taco.
Skirt steak would be in it. Yeah, that
Typically.
which I wouldn't complain about.
No.
Either. I'm a fan of skirt steak.
Or flank steak.
Done right.
Another one.
Absolutely. But my question to you, did you think that they nailed the cook temperature on this?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. And I know that some people like their meat a little bit more on the well done side.
And I think you could ask for it.
And I'm sure you could, because they seemed to be like a very accommodating bunch in terms of our server and how knowledgeable she was about the menu and the cocktails and everything. But it was just perfect for us and the way that we like the meat to be cooked.
Yeah. And truthfully, we split this. One person could order this. And I think
it's a meal.
Maybe this and whatever you maybe have as another appetizer.
Yeah.
And you split with somebody, you're golden for a nice lunch or light dinner.
And I do love corn tortillas, but I think it was excellent use of the flour tortilla because it was really sturdy up against this. There was no skimping on the ingredients and the amount of meat in this.
No, that was the other thing that surprised me. You got a lot of beef in each taco.
Because you think, oh, it's 2 tacos, it's $13, that's a lot. But you can look at the amount of filet you're getting between these 2 tacos, and the flour tortilla was just the perfect vehicle.
Absolutely.
To hold it all together.
I like flour tortillas for things like this. I like it for tacos where you're not using ground beef, like so steak. I like or big slices of chicken, and also for fish tacos where you have maybe a fillet as basically the protein in your taco. I also like them for fajitas. Oh yeah. I think that's what you need because again, you're talking about maybe a tougher cut of meat or bigger cut of meat.
Yeah, larger chunks of meat.
Yeah.
Deserve a hearty vehicle or a double up of the corn tortilla.
But if you're doing, if you're, you absolutely, and that is, my overall preference is corn tortillas.
Oh, I love them,
especially for a street taco type thing. But you tend to have a smaller diced meat or ground meat for those. Yeah. I have no complaints about this. Would you get it again?
Yes.
Are you going to share this beautiful photo with the Runcation Nation?
It's in the episode artwork.
Guys, check out the episode artwork. This is one where you can eat with your eyes. And
but I also think that it deserves its own because the episode artwork is a collage of all that we had. But I think it deserves its own post later on in social media.
Check out our social media feed later on this week and see this amazing taco. We're raving about tacos, but tacos are great. Tacos are great. Oh. Come on. Now, here's another one that this dish that we're about to talk about, the next dish.
Is it controversial?
I don't know that it's controversial, but it's a seafood dish. There might be a little bit of controversy there because not everybody's a seafood fan. So if you're not a seafood fan, our first dish is going to hopefully be right up your alley. But this is one that I didn't expect to like as much as I was going to. And
really,
you
didn't think
ended
you
up
would?
raving about it.
I'd go back in a heartbeat, and we haven't even talked about it yet, but I'm just going to tell you.
This would probably be one of the items we would get.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
If we repeated the whole entire meal, I would not hate it.
No.
As Mark Valentine would say from this life, I don't hate it.
Yeah, or as I would say, this didn't suck.
Yeah.
And this really didn't. This is their jungle mussels. And for $14, this is 1 pound of mussels. And if you're not familiar with mussels, they look like an elongated clam, but with a dark shell. So it's like an oval shaped bivalve is what they call them, that will open up when you cook it in boiling or steaming. And
I used to do a chorizo and mussel kind of bake in the oven.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
It was so good. But these are cooked.
This is so right.
With pork belly, garlic, cilantro, pickled ginger, sweet soy, and then they give you a generous helping of Indian naan bread.
They're not skimping on that.
No.
That's so good. And they're not skimping on the pork belly either. And the broth.
I was going to say, this comes out, it's a giant pile of mussels. Not a single one of the mussels that we got failed to open. So they were very good at selecting healthy mussels. Mm-hmm. When you're eating shellfish, when you're cooking them, if they don't open, you don't eat them.
Discard.
So not a single one failed to open. And I'm very picky about my shellfish. I'm very picky about seafood, period. But
they were, and I know we're talking about mussels, but for lack of a better term, they were so meaty.
Yeah, this is
not
usually
skimpy.
No, and this is usually my dig on mussels.
Yeah,
is that I would prefer fried oyster
for the money
or clams usually because you don't get a ton of meat in the shells. They found some really meaty ones.
They were fabulous,
and they didn't overcook them.
No, they were not like chewing gum or rubbery, or the broth was hot and steaming, and they were just open. They were served at the perfect time where we could just have a tender mussel with a little bit of pork belly, have a little bit of that broth, that ginger and soy saltiness.
And, yeah, so they come out. They've got this big bowl, and they bring out a second bowl for you.
For the shells.
For the shells.
Yeah.
You grab your bread, throw that on your little plate. You scoop out a couple of the mussels. Maybe you dip your bread in the broth first, and then you scoop it out.
Yes.
And these were just meaty, tender, sweet. The broth you're talking about, this combination of flavors. You're getting that smokiness from the pork. You're getting that. I love garlic in anything. Garlic and cilantro. Pickled ginger normally is a little bit sweet, and then you have the sweet soy in addition to that, which gives it a little bit of an umami flavor and a little bit of saltiness as well.
Oh gosh!
But then the sweetness from that soy. Oh my gosh! This was. We didn't leave a drop of the broth. No. When we were done with the mussels, we had some broth left. We were eating that we were spooning. This picture that you took is gorgeous. The pork belly is super tender. Honestly, this is a dish that they actually could have easily messed up. Shrimp, clams, hard to do right. Mm-hmm. I mean, a lot of places do. And we do go to a number of restaurants. We'll get seafood options. And very often, they don't make the show.
Well, that's true.
Because there's not enough care given. If you overcook, in this one, you could have overcooked the mussels. They would have shriveled up and gotten tough. They could have overcooked the pork belly. And they would have been like eating a pencil eraser.
And we've had that before, and in dishes that did not make the show that we will not name.
Yeah. I have nothing bad to say about this. Except that I don't have one right now.
Yeah, we don't have one. We should really have one as we're talking about this. What we really should have done is just set the recorder down and
talked about it while we were eating.
Oh my God. But then I probably would have said we have to stop because I just need a moment alone with this dish.
It's pretty incredible.
It was beautiful and flavorful and
fun to share.
Satisfying.
Yeah. Yep. And it was one of those, a pound, that's a pretty healthy amount. And if you're...
It's a great shareable.
Perfect for sharing. The two of us sharing it together, talking, laughing, spooning, and spooning like we weren't cuddling in the booth.
But they did have a booth where we could have.
Spooning the broth onto the bread. Oh, come on.
You just... have to have it.
Again, we're doing our best to entice people to come down here to Florida for a little bit to get that staycation or that runcation.
Gosh.
So if you're already in the area and you're coming and you're having your staycation, or you're looking to come down here and maybe you're going to do one of the regional races that are happening here in Florida, or you're just coming to travel and you're in the area of Cape Coral, Fort Myers, Sanibel, Captiva.
We will warn you. This is somewhere you need to be, like you were about to say, and I didn't mean to cut you off. But we went at the perfect time in the afternoon.
Oh, Amy's about to drop a pro tip on you. Give us the pro tip.
I think if you can go there right when they open and you have your pick of the seats and outdoor open air seating, or at the bar that's really cool with the sign, or the other part of the house that is so beautiful, I think going at lunchtime, then you avoid the possibility of a wait, because we have been there many a night. We have driven by. And it is just wall-to-wall people waiting outside.
100%. That at night is a super popular spot. This is a good pro tip. So if you're not wanting to deal with the wait, do this one as a lunch spot. 100%.
But if you are there at night, wait with a great tiki cocktail.
And we're going to tell you all about that. But before we go on,
we just want to say thank you to all of our patrons for all your support and for the growth you've allowed us to achieve.
All of our patrons help our show so much. You guys have no idea. Your contribution each month helps us continue to bring the Runcation Nation a great show as we head on into 2021. We were just talking about what we're looking to do as races are coming back. We do have our eyes on some races, and we are going to be sharing some of that in the coming weeks, letting you know
we'll be able to do those because of our patrons.
100%. And we've made changes to the studio because of you guys, and it wouldn't have happened without you. It just wouldn't have. So it's all coming back. We are going to be springing into action and doing some of the cool stuff that you guys enabled us to do. And we can't thank you enough.
And we can't wait to meet up with you and the rest of the members of the Runcation Nation because of your support.
If you want to be a supporter, head over to patreon.com/runeatdrinkpodcast. We currently have 3 levels of monthly support, $2, $5, or $10. Each one has its own special perks. We are refining and adding to those in 2021. We're also looking at maybe adding some additional sponsorship levels. We're working on that still. We just want to get that right. But patrons get things like special thank you messages from us. Insiders get a look behind the scenes and get access to video footage of an early access to special interviews. I believe that you
we just did one.
Yeah.
We just did part 2 of Catherine Switzer early access, including the video for our insiders.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Things like cooking demos and tastings of favorite food and beverage, and including some bonus items that maybe don't make the show, but we want to share with you.
Our show, the Run Eat Drink Podcast, it will always be free. But if you want more of our content and you want to help support the show long term, check us out on patreon.com/runeatdrinkpodcast.
Or if you're on Podbean, if you're in that ecosystem, just tap on the reward button at the top of the Podbean app to become a patron. Right there, you're going to find all of the same perks and levels. So just tap on that button. You don't have to leave the Podbean app at all.
As always, we want to say thank you to everyone for all the ways you've supported the Run, Eat, Drink podcast.
So let's talk cocktails, because again, if you're going to a tiki bar,
can't help it.
And when we say bar, tiki restaurant, tiki bar, it has a bar at which you can sit usually, but they have amazing food. We have talked about that on these 2 episodes that we've used to cover this. But their drink game here
so strong
is off the charts good. And I'm going to start with mine because
do it.
Truth be told,
do it.
We love to talk about tiki drinks. When we go to the Jeff Galloway run, I'm bringing it back to the very beginning of the show. You see this,
full
trained podcast professional.
Full circle.
I'm bringing it back. Every time we go to the Jeff Galloway race up in Atlanta in December, we always go to Trader Vic's. It's one of a couple of locations left in the United States.
Much.
And Trader Vic's is the place that invented the Mai Tai. And when you think tiki, really no drink is more tiki than the Mai Tai. And this is one of those things, a lot of people think that a Mai Tai is just a bunch of fruit juice and rum over ice. And that's not really the case. There's some interesting ingredients in a Mai Tai traditionally. The classic presentation and what they do at the Jungle Bird is they do a traditional Trader Vic's recipe, which I love.
Yeah.
They don't try to improve upon a classic, at least in this particular one. They have some house tiki drinks that are their own.
Sure.
But they are going for tradition here. So they do the preparation over crushed ice. And the traditional preparation involves 2 ounces of Jamaican rum. And then here's where I think the drink gets interesting. They usually have a liqueur called orgeat.
Yes.
And that's an almond liqueur. And that is an ingredient that a little bit goes a long way because the almond flavor is very strong, but it adds so much to the cocktail. They also use orange curacao liqueur. So that's very sweet and orangey liqueur. And a 1/4 ounce or 1/2 ounce or so of rock candy syrup or demerara syrup. A lot of places will just use simple syrup. The juice of a lime, and then it's garnished with just a little bit of mint. And it is, I think, one of the most refreshing, just incredibly delicious drinks, and they nail it. Here they served it in this short Mai Tai glass that was, instead of the traditional like glass, see-through glass, they served it in this little green like clay tiki glass. So
I like the little face on it.
Yeah, it's a cute presentation of the drink. And what I loved about it was they kept with the traditional flavors. They gave it a great presentation. The mixture of Jamaican rum, which tends to have a very molasses note to it or brown sugar note to it very often, coupled with the almond from the orgeat and then the orange of the curacao. That combination is so refreshing. And then you get that acidic punch from the lime juice. A lot of people think that there's all this pineapple juice to sweeten it and all this. There's no pineapple in a traditional Mai Tai. What I read there is what you get. And it is so refreshing, so pure, like a pure tiki experience. Classic. Yeah, that's what it is. And they do it right. It took me immediately back to Trader Vic's having it. I can't say enough good about what they're doing there when it comes to their beverage game as well. Hence the reason they're on the show 2 weeks or twice now within a month.
Yes.
What about you? Talk about your beverage.
Okay. So mine is a house tiki
Yeah, she went off the reservation. She went with something non-traditional.
Well, I mean, I really like how the traditional tikis pay homage to the original location where they were invented or created.
Yes, that I thought was very cool. They actually cite the location where the drink was invented in the menu.
So I probably did our listeners a disservice, and we need to go back to have the jungle bird, the actual namesake.
Oh, I see.
We
what
probably
you're doing.
Bitter and sweet and the perfect blend. I just need to know more about it.
So it's purely for research purposes is the reason you're wanting to go
I
back.
feel like we're going to have members of the Runcation Nation message us and go, why did you not have the namesake of that restaurant where you visited?
Well, if somebody in the Runcation Nation were to message us or say tweet at us, at Run Eat Drink Pod on Twitter and say, hey, why didn't you have the Jungle Bird?
Or you could message us on Facebook or Instagram at Run Eat Drink Podcast.
Then we might have to go back.
For science and for the sake of our people in the Runcation Nation.
100%. So talk about yours.
Yeah, so sorry. I'm just saying. I went in the house tiki direction, and you talked last time. I talked about the Mississippi hog. You talked about the banana hammock. I had the fighter.
The drink, not the clothing.
Not the clothing, the drink from the house tiki menu. Yes. I had the fighter pilot, which is a boozy blend of 4 rums, passion fruit, spiced honey syrup, and citrus.
Yeah.
And it was served in a glass. All of their tiki glasses can be purchased, which is super cool.
That is cool.
It was served in a glass that is... It looked like a barrel to me.
Yeah.
And is that wrong? Is that the wrong way to... It's in the album artwork, so you can see it. The episode artwork.
Yeah, that's exactly how I would describe it.
See it, and it had a dried lemon.
Dehydrated lemon slice.
Lemon and a purple flower and a green paper straw.
Okay, I normally am one of those people. This is going to be very controversial.
Be on the box for a minute.
It's very controversial. I know that we should all have metal straws we carry around with us. And if you have to have a disposable straw, you should have a paper straw. I normally hate paper straws. I would rather not have a straw than have a paper straw.
We just need to carry around with us a little package of the hay straws that we won in the drawing from the Dip Crew.
Truth.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I actually like those. They're actually made from hay. They're very cool. They're not a sponsor of the show. It's just a really cool alternative.
Love it.
Because they hold up and they don't get soggy and gross like a paper straw. But I loved their paper straws here.
Yeah, they were super cute.
The paper straws look like bamboo. Mm-hmm. And when you see the paper straws in the episode artwork, you're going to be like, that's adorable. It is a really nice touch, and it made me actually not hate their paper straws. So hats off to them for that.
So she said it was boozy, this fighter pilot.
Yes.
Right?
It's clearly going to have some oomph to it.
This fighter pilot, but it didn't taste boozy to me. And I know that I let you try it.
I didn't think it was especially boozy. Truth be told, I think the banana hammock that I had on the last episode was more boozy.
I mean, the spiced honey, the citrus, the passion fruit, I think they all played a part in making it taste not as boozy as anticipated.
Yeah. Now, passion fruit, for a lot of people don't realize how tart passion fruit really is. So there's a really nice tart element there, but that spiced honey syrup,
that's what counterbalances.
That was really good.
So
I was very impressed.
I enjoyed that a lot. I would have it again. I couldn't leave though, because you were nice enough to let me have. We had a long meal there.
To let you
we
have?
Had, well, since you were the designated driver.
Well, that's true.
And we had a really long meal there.
Mm-hmm.
So I was able to have a bonus cocktail.
Oh, yes.
Because in The Lion King, my favorite character in all of Disney is Rafiki,
the baboon, the wise old baboon that holds up Simba to the crowd of animals.
He's awesome. He's
rubs the clay against or across his forehead. He's
my jam. I love the picture we got at Disney of you and Rafiki hugging before the pandemic and all of that. The last time we went and visited Rafiki's planet or whatever they call that.
Right.
Where you take the train out there. And I loved that. And so I had to get his namesake here at the Jungle Bird, which is the Rafiki Tiki, which is an exciting take on a pina colada. So,
what did you think?
Typically, a pina colada is a frozen drink, and you have what? You have light rum, you have some kind of pina colada mix.
Yeah, typically cream of coconut, pina colada mix. Sometimes you'll actually get a nice blend with the ones I really like. Also include a little bit of a dark rum in there as well, and they're typically the quintessential frozen, fruity
pineapple juice, diced pineapple, ice, coconut cream, white rum, dark rum, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
this was over ice. It was not blended. It was liquid form of those ingredients.
And that is, I think, the one and only time I've ever seen that.
I don't think I've ever seen it either.
And what did you think of it?
So that made it unique. And then the vehicle that it came in.
We are fans of the glassware that they chose for all of these drinks.
Wasn't it? I don't know. Well, I may not have a picture of it. My apologies.
Okay.
Do I? Oh, yes, I do. My bad. Success.
Okay.
Yes. It was, I think, the only one that had a handle that we had. It was like a pineapple mug.
Yeah.
And it had the signature green bamboo straw and the purple flower.
Yeah, they actually garnished these with edible purple flowers.
Which I did. I didn't eat the flower.
No.
But I had the beverage itself in that pineapple glass. And it was, I expected it to be really syrupy and really sweet. And it was sweet. But it was also not a heavy-bodied beverage. So typically frozen drinks, what they'll do is fill you up because they're larger drinks, they're heavy on ice, blended together with the ingredients, so that you're filled up and it's almost like you can't.
It's a lot of water.
Yeah, and we couldn't enjoy all the starters that we enjoyed that day, or a larger meal, a celebratory meal, because of the larger frozen drink. But this is a mug-sized version. And it's over ice instead of blended. And I thought it was the perfect combination of sweet and that lighter body of the beverage.
Nice. Now, do you prefer, now that you've had it both ways, how do you prefer your pina colada?
It depends on the situation. If you're going to have a larger meal, I like it this way.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would like to see somebody order their pina colada on the rocks from a bartender and watch the bartender's head explode, because they'd be like,
You think that would happen? I think if we had some of the bartenders we've been lucky enough to meet out in California and various places here locally as well.
Some would get it.
There are some who are seasoned veterans who would roll with it and make it happen. And that's what I love.
Well, I'm glad you found the photo of it.
Yeah. I'm so excited. It's going to be in the episode artwork.
The beverage glassware was so cool, and it just rounded out the whole experience. When you go and you're eating there or drinking there, it is just this immersive courtyard that you forget you're in a very large city here in Southwest Florida. You
forget you're in Cape Coral.
You do. You absolutely do. And
that place feels like it should be out at the beach.
100%. Absolutely.
To me.
I cannot recommend this place enough for our listeners. We really hope that you'll check them out. Jungle Bird Tiki. You're going to see links in the show notes.
We're just trying to entice everybody to come see us.
We are.
That's the thing.
It's, well, you know what? For the longest time, we didn't really do a whole lot of stuff that was in our own hometown. So we're making up a little bit of lost time there. We're also wanting to share some things that we discover and find and love
Yes.
That's
show
the
the
reason
local
for
love
that.
as well.
Absolutely. But now that we have finished your bonus cocktail,
Yeah.
that means that we are done.
We are.
With our episode for this week. Another episode in the can.
But next week, stay tuned because we have a live race to recap.
We actually got to run a live race.
We got to run a live race and some local vegan dishes to share as well.
Oh, this one's going to be great. I think this is, and trust us, this is vegan dishes that even the non-vegan
would love.
Yay. So we've got some interesting stuff. So stay tuned for that. In the meantime, guys, of course, we talked about supporting us through our Patreon, but if you could head on over to Apple Podcasts and give us a rating and review. Just take a minute and please do that. It helps us get discovered now that we've gotten our technical issue worked out with our friends over at Apple. We would really appreciate a recent rating and review from you guys.
And it's a free way to support the show and help the Runcation Nation to grow.
Absolutely. So thank you guys so much for listening this week.
Thank you for joining us on your long run, your commute to work, around the house, wherever you were when you listened. Thank you. I am your host, Amy.
And I'm your co-host, Dana.
Stay safe and well, and we will accomplish, explore, and indulge with you really soon. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of the Run, Eat, Drink podcast. We're having another great year thanks to your support. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. We're at Run, Eat, Drink Podcast. And on Twitter, we're Run, Eat, Drink Pod. You can also give us a call at 941-677-2733 or send us an email at info@runeatdrink.net. Visit our website at runeatdrink.net and click on the subscribe link so you don't miss a minute. Find out how you can support the show at patreon.com/runeatdrinkpodcast. Accomplish, explore, and indulge right along with us. We'll talk to you next time.